To talk more about this movement and recent issues is Latoya Francis Williams. She's an attorney and represents a black man shot by police in Baltimore. She's joining us live now from Baltimore, Maryland. Are these incidents becoming more common, do you think, or are we just hearing more about them?
Well, unfortunately, they're not more common. I believe we're simply hearing about them more often as a result of the social media and mainstream media covering what the black and brown community is pretty fed up with at this point.
The Black Lives Matter movement organizers have largely condemned the killings of police officers, yet there are some who say it was only a matter of time. They say the U.S. is in the middle of a race war, and I want to get your thoughts on that. How true do you think that is?
Well, yeah, I have to agree with the representatives say that the Black Lives Matter movement is not about violence. They understand that violence simply begets violence. But there is a necessary evil. We must talk about the truth that black and brown people are fed up with the victim blaming, are fed up with the lack of accountability, and are fed up with not holding individual officers that kill black and brown people responsible for their conduct. So to the degree that there is a quote-unquote race war going on in this country, it is not sparked by the Black Lives Matter movement, and we certainly would not want to condone violence. That is simply not what the movement is about. The movement is about accountability. The movement is about holding those responsible and bringing to light what the black and brown community has felt and cried out for a long time. As I've always said, black and brown people have bought into the ideal that they should be treated equally under the law, that their civil rights should not be violated at the hands of law enforcement.
I want to ask you how disturbed you were at the first night of the Republican National Convention, because a lot of people have been writing that this was basically about fear, and not just fear, but fear of black and brown people. I want to get your thoughts on some of the messaging that was coming out of Cleveland earlier this week.
Unfortunately, it appears that some of the messaging was about divide and dividing this country. It is quite disgusting, but I will say this, that black, brown people, conscientious people of all colors in this country simply know better. And unfortunately, while the Republican convention is going on and pandering to a particular bigoted base, it seems to be the reality. I firmly believe that the cries for justice and the cries for accountability will be louder. And so what's happening right now with the Republican convention will not carry the day. They will not have the drumbeat. They will not prevail over what I am certain will really take wave over this country, which is a call to justice and making sure that all persons, black and brown, are treated equally under the law, and that as victims of crime, that those that are killed at the hands of law enforcement, that in fact, the communities in which this happened will hold them accountable.
Well, let me ask you about this. Given this the spate of killings that we've witnessed over the last couple of years, and then more recently, the police officers losing their lives, and then this type of controversy coming out of Cleveland with this kind of dialogue. You mix all of that together with this stew that we have now. How can relations be improved? I mean, what are some steps that can be taken?
Well, in the immediate, I believe relations can be improved by doing what I've always called for, police reform. As you can hear the cries from the affluent, the influential, the poor, the rich, the marginalized, police reform is a necessary evil in this country. When we stop victim blaming, when we start answering the cries for justice for all, we can begin to normalize the relationships between all persons in this country. The unfortunate reality right now is we are still at a stage of victim blaming. We are still at a stage in which violence is begetting violence, and we are paying more attention to what is happening as a reaction and not what should be happening to make sure that moving us forward is a reality.
Latoya Francis Williams joining us from Baltimore. Thanks so much.